macro summer, crypto summer. We're at the phase where the Bitcoin halving is happening, the election cycle where they give out free candy to the kids, stimulus. And we generally get, well, we've got the central bank who want to cut rates, even though inflation's not playing that game. We'll talk a bit about that in a sec. And then we've got global stimulus cycle from the weekly global liquidity index, which has been rising. So this is the part where liquidity starts going up significantly. The Europeans are going to start cutting. We've already seen, I think, the Swiss cut. We're going to see a few nations cut. Latin America was first to hike, started cutting. Brazil. So we'll see the cutting cycle, global cutting cycle will pick up. We've got China with a very lackluster economy. In fact, it's a debt deflationary trap driven by an aging population and excess debt. We all know about those things because we're all living in one, whether we're living in Europe or living in the US or Japan. So they're going to stimulate more. The Japanese are pretending to raise rates, but they've still running kind of negative interest rate policies when you look at it in real terms. And we should see inflation continuing to slowly decline. Now it's been flatlining for a while, but many of you have seen me tweet out a chart of previous inflation cycles versus this one. It always has this flat bit, then it hooks down. If I look at the Trueflation index, the guys at Trueflation have this real-time inflation index with millions of prices. That thing is now at 1.78%. It's falling. I know nobody believes me. Either way, the Federal Reserve want to cut rates. Why? Because of the everything code. I've told you about the everything code. If you've not seen it before, please watch the YouTube videos on the everything code. But the everything code basically suggests that they have to use liquidity to monetize the interest payments on the debt. We're coming into the teeth of the interest payments now, and we're paying for the interest for the debt we issued during the pandemic. So we got a lot of payments to do. The bond market's freaking out from this, obviously, because they're like, how can we pay for all of this stuff at 5.5% rates without issuing more and more and more debt? Gold market's breaking out on the back of this, and so it should be, because the answer is going to be they're going to have to use liquidity. Will they use quantitative easing? Probably not. Why? Because we all know the trick, and we know the name quantitative easing equals money printer goes burr. So what will they do? Well, they've been running down the reverse repo. That's okay, it doesn't matter what the format is, but they've been running down that, which means banks have been putting money into the market. Then they're still doing quantitative tightening, but they're already talking about, well, at some point we need to stop that. Of course they do, because the reverse repo is almost empty. That runs the Fed out of opportunities at this point. Next part is, what do the Treasury do? Because the Fed is basically just helping the Treasury now. Well, the Treasury's been building up the Treasury General account. That's their bank account. And then what they will do is start running that down over the election, which is liquidity flushing into the system. We've got to get through, I think Mike Howell talks about this. We've got tax season, and often that takes money out of the money markets, and then it goes into the Treasury General account, then it gets drawn down. Some people think that's liquidity negative. I'm not entirely sure. But in the end, the Treasury General account will be like $1 trillion, and they'll inject that $1 trillion nicely back into our hands, and number go up.
So you saw in that clip right there, that was Raoul talking about where he sees Bitcoin and crypto going over the next year. In that clip, he talked a lot about inflation. You can see right here, Peter Schiff's talking about inflation. The question isn't when will the Fed deliver the first rate cut. The question is why rate cuts at all. It's obvious rate cuts are still too low. That's why prices keep rising. The longer the Fed waits to hike rates, the higher inflation and interest rates will ultimately rise. And a lot of people right now are freaking out about CPI inflation. But I found something here looking at Trueflation. And Trueflation right now is currently sitting at 1.74% compared to the government's CPI at 3.5%. And something that I found that was very, very interesting. We just got the March CPI numbers a couple of days ago. If you look at what happened on true inflation at the beginning of April, inflation absolutely plummeted and it went straight down and is continuing to go down almost every single day, down to 1.74%. And that's the year-over-year number. And you can kind of see the past year for true inflation here. So I wanted to look at this and see, has this in the past been a potential indicator that inflation is going to come down. And something that I found was very interesting, if you look back here around the April timeframe, you can see from April to July, inflation fell from 4.5% all the way down to 2.2%. So looking at CPI, if we look at that same time frame, you can see April here, inflation's at around 4.9%. That's the blue line there. And it goes all the way down to 3.5%. So the numbers are definitely different. CPI is definitely higher, but the trend was the same. We're starting to see inflation go down here. And then you come back to true inflation. You go and see July all the way up here till September. And you can see the CPI does the same exact thing. And then it levels off a bit before dumping going into the end of the year. And then you can see towards the end of the year, it starts to dump. And then it kind of has just been flat since basically the beginning of 2024. You can kind of see the same thing here with true inflation. So this could be an indicator that CPI could be coming down next month. The lower this goes, the more probability that CPI will come in even lower for the April number. So something to think about there. A lot of people are really concerned about inflation, thinking we're not going to get any rate cuts like you just saw that Peter Schiff post there. But the Bitcoin bros believe inflation will be coming down, and this will mean more liquidity, which means more potential price rises for crypto and Bitcoin. This is definitely good. Along with that, we have the Bitcoin halving. Currently 8 days away. When you guys watch this, it will be 7 days away. So that is coming. The Bitcoin supply that is coming out every single day is getting cut in half. We know after every halving, the price of Bitcoin tends to explode. You can see back here at the first halving, Bitcoin was $12. Around a year and a half later, Bitcoin went all the way up to $1,200. The second halving, Bitcoin was at $648. Year and a half after, it went up to $20K. The third halving, it was around $8,500, and it went all the way up to $60K. So going into this halving, we're going to be around $60 to $70K. Where do you think the price is going? Probably up and to the right. Be prepared, guys. Right now is probably one of the last opportunities you're going to get Bitcoin at these cheap prices, get these other cryptos at these cheap prices. I mean, it just seems like we're going to see Bitcoin go above 100K, and it's going to bring the rest of this crypto market right along with it. And there are a lot of cryptos that will do well. If you are risk averse, you just want a 2 to 3x. Bitcoin goes to 150K, you get a 2x out of that. And you can get Bitcoin, or maybe Ethereum. Ethereum might go to 7 or 8K, or potentially 10K. That's like a 2 to 3x. Solana may go up to $500. You may see Dogecoin go up to 50 or 60 cents. If you want to get, a potential 5 to 10x, you invest in the top 10 cryptos. You want to be more safe for the long run. You get some Bitcoin. You come down here to some of these altcoins. This is where you start to get more gains on your money. We talk about Litecoin on our channel. We think ICP is a pretty good project. There are a lot of great projects out there. Caspa, a really good crypto with great technologies, up and coming, has done very, very well since its launch. A big community for Caspa too. Thorchain, a DEX that can transact between any chain. So a lot of interesting projects. If you want to learn more about the projects that we're invested in, make sure to check out our Patreon here. We do have a special, one spot remaining, $5 a month. And you get access to the Bitcoin Bros. You can ask us any questions. We give you our portfolio. We let you know what we're investing in. We keep you up to date with everything we're looking at. We give you guys trade alerts. All of that is right here. You also get access to a crypto airdrop spreadsheet. All that is right here. So make sure to check that out. That'll be in the comment section below. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you found any value, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe for more content just like this. My name is Aaron from the Bitcoin Bros. I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day.